Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel. I'm really excited about this project because it's so easy, so quick, and will really make your dining table look very special. Now this is a table topper. It's a square, but when you have it on your table, you don't have to have it on a square table. This will work on a round table and even a rectangle table. When I put it on a rectangle table, I actually turn it to where the corners are facing the side. The other two corners are facing each end of the table. And if you've already got a table runner that you really like, but it's kind of plain, you can place this on top to dress it up. Okay, let's get started. When you are looking at fabric choices, this is what I recommend you look for. You want to look for one that's more of a solid, and then pick a print. So if you find a print you like, look for a color in there that you could match up with a solid. During this tutorial, you will see me referring to different sides of the fabric. So I want to explain what they are. This is called right side, which means it's the prettiest side, also front side. And then you'll also hear me saying wrong side, which means the back of the fabric or not so pretty side. So during this tutorial, you'll also hear me say, bring your fabric's front sides together, which means bring those prettiest sides of your fabric. Bring it together here. Remember, it's also called right side. Then I use a 1/4 inch wide seam throughout this project. So you would do your stitching. After you stitch a seam, you want to press it on the back side, and then I recommend you unfold and press the seam underneath here towards your darkest fabric. So you've pressed it this way. When you turn it over, you will see the seam facing towards the darkest side. All of the supplies and the sizes of your fabric pieces to cut are listed below your YouTube screen in the description section. So you scroll down below your screen until you see the word more. Click on that and it will expand open and you will see the links appearing. I recommend you pre-wash your fabrics, especially if you're worried about the fabric shrinking. So before you wash it, before you cut into the fabric, you want to zigzag the two raw edges of your fabric, and then you can wash and dry it. So the first 3 pieces you want to start with is your 12.5 inch square for the center. That's fabric A. Then your 2 pieces of fabric B that are 4.5 by 12.5 inches. So you have the prettiest side of your fabric facing up, called right side. You're going to take one of the strips and bring it face down on top and then stitch a 1/4 inch seam. Then go over to the other side and do the same thing. Bring it pretty side down, stitch a 1/4 inch seam. Then of course, press your fabrics as previously instructed. So here are the 3 pieces you just stitched together. Now you're going to take your other 2 pieces of fabric B and always measure this edge here just in case it doesn't come out to the correct length that I state down below. Everybody's 1/4 inch wide seam is always just a little different from each other. So I recommend before you cut these 2 strips that you measure this edge. That all of the pieces are going to be 4.5 inches wide. So take your next 2 pieces with the prettiest sides facing up, turn them down against this center piece that's already stitched, and stitch a 1/4 inch seam. Then take the other piece, bring it face down on top, and stitch a 1/4 inch seam. And then make sure you press your fabric seams. So now you have fabric A in here, and everything around it is fabric B. Now your next 2 strips, you're going back to fabric A. And again, measure this edge just in case that you have to adjust the length of these 2 pieces here. So then you're going to take these next 2 pieces, bring them front side down on top, pretty side down, stitch a 1/4 inch wide seam, and then press your seams. So now you have fabric A, fabric B, and fabric A on here. So now you're going to stitch your last 2 pieces of fabric A. Again, measure this edge, make any adjustments that you need to do. Bring them pretty side down on top, stitch a 1/4 inch seam, do the same down here, and then press your seams. I'm using Fusible Interfacing in between the 2 layers of fabric, between the top layer and the bottom layer. So on that top layer, you turn it over to the back where you see all of the seams. You're going to cut 2 pieces of Fusible Interfacing, and the sizes are listed down below your YouTube screen. The reason why you're cutting 2 is because the Fusible Interfacing, when you purchase it off the bolt, is only 20 inches wide. So you have to cut a second piece to help fill in that other edge. So the glue side is the roughest side. You will take it and take the glue side and put it against the back side of your table topper on the back of that top fabric. Follow package instructions for fusing it on. It requires a damp cloth that you put over the Fusible Interfacing, and then you use a hot iron with steam, and then you just keep holding the iron down in place for so many seconds, and you move it, and you keep doing that until the entire section is fused. Before you cut the fabric for the back side of your table topper, I recommend you cut out that piece the very last when you're getting ready to stitch it on. So place that fabric for the back side, pretty side facing up. Then take your table topper top piece and put pretty side down against it. Then put a few pins here and there to hold the fabric together. Then cut your square out, and it should be roughly 28.5 inches. Remember, yours might be a little different, but as long as the 2 pieces are the same size, that's all that is important. So now you want to go ahead and pin all of your edges together. And on one edge, you're going to indicate an opening that you won't stitch over just yet. So I have 1 pin on one side of the opening, and this is where I'll start stitching. And over here, I have 2 pins to indicate where I want to stop stitching. So you want to make sure there's plenty of room for your hand to go in there, and maybe even a little more, so that when you're ready, you can turn it front side out easily. So start here with the 1 pin, back stitch a little bit, and you're doing a 1/4 inch wide seam, and then stitch down towards this corner. And when you're a 1/4 inch away from this edge over here, stop, leave your needle down, lift your presser foot, turn this, lower your presser foot, and continue stitching a 1/4 inch wide seam all the way around all 4 edges. When you come to the 2 pins, this is where you're going to stop. So then, of course, back stitch at this end also. Before you turn it front side out, you want to trim just a little bit of fabric off of the corners. So I like to leave my fabric width on the corner about 1/8 of an inch wide. So I'm going to just cut it off like that. And then if you want, you could cut just a tiny bit more off on each side. And then, of course, again, you want to go around to all 4 corners and do that. So after stitching, you want to reach into your opening and begin turning it front side out. So after you've turned it front side out, and before you press this, you want to reach inside and poke out all of your corners. So you want to go in there and make sure you poke those corners out. Then go to your ironing board and you're going to press this flat. Make sure your edges are even all the way around. And as you're pressing, at your opening, turn your edges in 1/4 inch and try to make it as straight across here as possible. Then put a few pins to hold this. Now you're going to go back to your sewing machine and you're going to stitch 1/8 of an inch from the edge here around all 4 edges. And then you're done. Now let's take a look at the topper as it is on the table. Remember, you have an option of laying it any way you want. You can place it over another table runner also if you want, or not at all. It'll fit on all types of tables. If you are interested in other beginner sewing projects, I will have links listed below your YouTube screen in the description section. So scroll down until you see the word more. Click on it. It will expand open and you will see links appearing. Now don't forget to follow me on Instagram and make sure you check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl. This is Manny. See you next time.